Did you know that nearly a half of Americans make New Year's resolutions, but by the end of the year, only about 9% are successful in keeping them? That's right, 91% of people fail to reach the goals they set out for the new year. And the statistics show most people give up by January 19th. So those laudable goals of being more healthy, making more money, and losing weight all fall to the side. That doesn't have to be you. In today's video, I'm going to set out a simple method, tried and true, to really help you reach your goals. So you can be in the 9% that succeed and not in the 91% that fail. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian. Today, I'm going to wander out of my usual medicine area and venture a little bit into productivity, and specifically things I've used personally to help me. Motivational speaker and productivity guru Brian Tracy wrote a popular self-help book titled Eat That Frog quite a few years ago. And in it, he ascribed a quote to Mark Twain, and the quote goes as such: if it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat two frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. And then there's the corollary: eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. Now, it turns out the quote which was given to Mark Twain is probably false, because Mark Twain was born in like 1835. And if you look back in the records, there's a quotation written by a famous and witty French writer known as Nicolas Chamfort, who supported the French Revolution. And he quoted another gentleman back in 1790 in France. This quote was attributed to a gentleman by the name of de Lassay, and he apparently had a great knowledge of society, and he said, quote, "We should swallow a toad every morning in order to fortify ourselves against the disgust of the rest of the day." So frog, toad, potato, probably the idea is sound regardless of its attribution. And today I want to use this to teach you a method of time management that I personally have found very helpful. It's helped me as a physician and as a father and even as an amateur athlete. The mindset involved in the swallow a toad or swallow a frog is a real game changer, and I still use it in my continual fight with procrastination, and it really helps me make a huge difference in boosting my daily productivity, and specifically helps me achieve some of those really hard to keep goals. An eloquent and articulate summarization of this technique comes from another one of my favorite motivational speakers, David Goggins, who says, and I quote, "Do something that sucks every single day. That's how you grow." So if you're ready, take some notes and be prepared to take some action. To begin, to reach your goals, you have to be able to manage your time. And one of the most valuable time management skills that you can possibly develop is a habit of organizing your tasks by priority. Now, this prioritization is according to which task is most important, and often these critical tasks are also the most difficult. This very top difficult task is your toad or your frog. So the concept is simple. It means practicing the habit of tackling your biggest, ugliest, most difficult, and most important tasks first. This task or toad is the one you are most likely to procrastinate on. Yet it often can have the greatest positive impact on your life and results, business, home, personal. It's what we know deep down we should do, and it's also so ugly we keep avoiding it. Now, the beauty of this approach is that once you've swallowed that ugly toad down, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that's probably the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long. Every item left on your list becomes easier because your toad is the biggest, ugliest task. And as Brian Tracy says, do the worst first. So to make this a little bit real and practical for you, let's talk about it. The best way to organize your tasks in your life is to use what Brian Tracy calls the ABCDE method. It's simple, elegant, and a powerful priority setting technique. And you can use it every single day in all of your activities. And here's how it works. Start off by making a list of everything you want to do for the coming day. Preferably, you make this list the night before, or at least the morning before you start work. Never start your work without a list. If you're old school, think on paper, write it down. Or if you're new school, use any host of productivity apps. Notion, Todoist, Trello, Google Calendar. There's no end of them. Just don't leave it in your head. So then make your list, go down your list and place a letter, A, B, C, D, or E, before each item on your task, before you begin your first task. Now, A tasks are often often difficult. It might be technically, intellectually, or socially, or all three. Most of us don't want anywhere near these tasks and want to avoid them. These are the tasks that suck, and they're the ones that Goggins is talking about. But an A item, by definition, is defined as something that is very, very important. It's something you have to do because it has serious consequences if you do it or if you don't do it. Like the Marines say, you must embrace the suck. For example, in business, this might be visiting a very key customer, one that you despise or despises you. Or you might have to finish a painful, tedious report for your boss that she really needs for an upcoming board meeting. Or it might be as simple as filing your taxes, meticulously listing deductions before the deadline. Now, in my line of work as a physician, sometimes returning a phone call to a patient that I know will be very hostile with me, or that I have to give bad news to. Those are just some of the toads of my life. But these are the things you gotta eat first. A B item is defined as a task that you should do, and you need to be aware that it's important to complete it, but it's not required right away. And there are much more mild consequences if you delay or don't do the task at all. These are like, returning an important phone call, or going to a lunch with a supervisor or coworker, or sometimes even checking and returning certain emails. These, although important, are not major tasks, and these are actually tadpoles of your work life. This means that someone may be unhappy, including you, or inconvenienced if you don't do a B task, but it's nowhere as important as an A task. And there's a basic rule. The rule is you should never do a B task when there's an A task left undone. You should never be distracted by a tadpole when there's a big toad waiting to be eaten. Then there's C tasks. C tasks are defined as something that would be nice to do, but for which there are not a lot of consequences, whether you do them or you don't. And C tasks include, social lunches with a coworker, or completing some personal business during work hours. This sort of activity really doesn't have any effect at all on your work, your life, or your productivity. But something, most of us spend a significant amount of time on our C tasks. They don't have any relevance to our work, our family life, but we love to check off these meaningless tasks on our to-do list. It gives us a really false sense of actually achieving something. But then at the end of the month or the week or the day, we wonder, why aren't we getting ahead? A D task is defined as something you can delegate to someone else. D is for delegate. The rule is that you should delegate everything that anyone else can do so that you can free up more time for the A tasks that only you can do. Now, many of us are control freaks and really struggle with this one, delegating. Then an E task. An E-task is defined as something you can eliminate altogether, and it won't really make any difference. This may be a task that was important at one time, but it's no longer important to yourself or anyone else. And often, it's something that you continue to do out of habit, or maybe because you enjoy it, or because somebody expects you to do it. But every minute that you spend on an E-task is time taken away from a task or activity that can make a real difference in your life. So the key to making this A, B, C, D, E method work for you is practice discipline. Start immediately on your A task and then stay with it until it's complete. If it's a multi-day or a multi-week task, it's still the first thing you tackle every day until it's complete. You use your willpower and discipline and mental strength to get going and keep going on this one job, the most important single task you could possibly do. Eat the whole toad. Now, sometimes just one piece at a time, but don't stop until it's finished completely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.